Hello guys, nice to see you back. Once again I am back with a new project related JavaScript animation, and today we are going to build animated eyes that follow mouse cursor.
As you can see, when I hover my cursor on this body element, this body tag, it follows the cursor pointer. If I move the cursor upside, it follow the upside. And if I move the cursor at left, it follow the left side. Also from the down and also from the right. And if I hover my cursor on the face of this emoji, you can see it change the facial reaction. Also, it follow the mouse cursor. So today in this project, we are going to create this beautiful animated eyes, which is going to follow our mouse cursor. So let's see how we can create it. So let's jump in the Visual Studio Code editor.
Hey, before we start our project, let me tell you something. If you are looking for best web hosting, then you can try out Hostinger. Here you can find various type of plans according to your needs. If you are absolute beginner, then you can try out this package. 89 rupees per month. But I will recommend you the most popular package, 149 rupees per month. You can choose any plan according to your needs and use my promo code JAYANTO, JAYANTA. Then instantly you can get 20% discount on it. Also, if you want to become master on CSS animation, you can check out this course on Udemy. It is the most complete and detailed course about CSS animation. So let's get started.
As you can see, side by side, I open my Visual Studio Code editor and my browser using Live Server extension. And I already created a HTML document named index.html. And I already linked this HTML document with this CSS file, style.css. So at first, inside the body tag, I'm going to create a div. Div class, and our class name is face. At first, I want to create the face. Then inside this div tag, I'm going to create another div. Div class eyes. In this section, we are going to create eyes of our face. Then inside this eyes section, we are going to create two eyes. Div class eye. And I'm going to duplicate this line. So we successfully done our HTML part. First we create a tag for face. Then inside this face tag, we create a block for eyes. And then we take to another div tag for two eyes. Now let's jump into the style section. At first I'm going to take a universal selector, star. So inside the curly braces, at first I'm going to use margin property. Margin 0. And then I'm going to use padding property. Padding 0. And box size in border box. Next, I'm going to style the body tag. Body, inside the curly braces, display flex. Justify content center. I use flex container to align our face center of this page. Next, I'm going to use align item property. Align items center. Minimum height, mean height 100 VH. I want to use whole web page. That's why I use 100 VH. And our last property is background. Background, for background color, I'm going to use RGB value. RGB, for red, I'm going to use 8. And for green, I'm going to use 84 value. And for blue, I'm going to use 139. If I save this file, you can see the background color. For this project, I'm going to use dark blue background color. And now I want to style the face part. So I'm going to style dot face inside the curly braces. At first, I'm going to use position property. Position relative. And our next property is width. Width 300 pixel. And also I want to set height. Height 300 pixel also. Our next property is background. Background, and once again I'm going to use RGB value. RGB, for red value I'm going to use 255. For green value I'm going to use 198. And for blue value, I'm going to use 54. If I save this file, you can see the square box on your screen. And now we need to convert this square shape into a round shape. For that, I'm going to use border radius property. Border radius 50%. If I save this file, you can see the result. And also I'm going to use display property. Display flex. Justify content center. And also I'm going to use align item property center. Hey, if you are not familiar with CSS Flexbox and Grid, you can check out my responsive CSS course. So we successfully shape our face. Now we need to put mouth in this face. For that, I'm going to create dot face colon before selector. Before. Then inside the curly braces, as you already know, first we need to take a blank property. And our property name is content. Content blank. Then our next property is position. Position absolute. And then I'm going to set height and width. Width 150 pixel. Height 70 pixel. And now I'm going to take background color. Background chocolate. If I save this file, you can see a rectangular shape middle of this face. And now we need to move this face little bit down. For that, I'm going to use top value. Top 180 pixel. If I save this file, you can see the result. Here you can see our mouth look like a square box. And to create a perfect mouth shape, we need to use border radius property. At first, I want to set a border radius in this corner. For that, I'm going to use border bottom left radius. Border bottom left radius. And I'm going to use 70 pixel. If I save this file, you can see the result. And then I'm going to duplicate this line and replace left with right. If I save this file, here you can see it create a smile shape. And now I want to change the mouth motion when I hover my cursor on it. For that, we need to create another selector. Let me show you. Dot face colon hover colon before. Inside the curly braces, I'm going to reuse this value and property. So I'm going to copy the property and value and paste it here. Now, one by one, I'm going to replace these values. First, I'm going to change top value to 10 pixel. If I set this file and hover my cursor on it, you can see the difference. It's changed the position of mouth. And next, I'm going to change this border radius. Border bottom left radius 0. Also, border bottom right radius 0. If I set this file and hover my cursor on it, you can see the difference. But there is no transition in this transformation. For that, we need to use transition property. So here, I'm going to type transition. Transition 0.5 second. If I set this file and hover my cursor on it, you can see the transition effect. It takes 0.5 seconds to complete the transformation. So we successfully complete our mouth section. Let's jump into the eyes section. As you can see, inside the eyes container, we have two eyes. So let's create the eyes of this face. So at first, I'm going to style eyes section dot eyes. Then inside the curly braces, position relative. And I want to position it top minus 40 pixel. And I'm going to use display property display flex. Using this property and values, we successfully move our eyes section in that place, not the middle of this face. And then we need to create the eye. So I'm going to select eyes class. Also I'm going to select eye class. Then inside the curly braces, our first property is position. Position relative. And also I'm going to set height and width for this eye. Width 80 pixel. Height 80 pixel. After width and height, I'm going to set background color. Background white. If I save this file, you can see the result. Basically, side by side it creates two square box with 80 pixel width and height. And then I'm going to use display property. Display block. And next I'm going to use border radius property. Border radius 50%. If I save this file, you can see the difference. Here you can see side by side it creates two eyeballs, but there is no gap between two eyeballs. So for that I'm going to use margin property. Margin 0 and 15 pixel. If I save this file, you can see the difference. Overall, this margin value provides 30 pixel space between these two eyes. And now we need to create the eyeballs for these eyes. So at first, I'm going to copy this line and I'm going to paste it here. With eye, I'm going to use before selector, colon, before. Then inside the curly braces, as you know, first we need to create a blank content. Content blank. Our next property is position. Position absolute. And also we need to place it. So I'm going to use top value. Top 50%. Left 25 pixel. And for our eyeballs, I'm going to set width 40 pixel. Also height 40 pixel. And next, I'm going to use background color for our eyeball. Background, and I'm going to use RGB value. RGB for green, I'm going to pass 42. Then for red, I'm going to pass 42 once again. Also for blue, I'm going to pass 42. If I save this file, you can see the result. As you can see, it creates two dark gray square box. But we need to make it round shape. So I'm going to use border radius value. Border radius 50%. If I save this file, you can see the result. Here you can see our eyes look down in that angle. But I want to change the eyes looking angle, something in that position. For that, I'm going to use transform property. Transform translate minus 50% for x-axis, also minus 50% for y-axis. If I save this file, you can see the result. Now it's look in that angle. If I hover my cursor in this emoji face, you can see the reaction. But the eyes ball do not follow the cursor position. For that, we need to use JavaScript. So we successfully complete our styling part. In the next part of this video, we are going to work with JavaScript. So thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next part.
Hello guys, good to see you back. This is the second part of this tutorial, and at that section we are going to start JavaScript. So inside the body tag, here I'm going to type script tag. Script. And inside the script tag, here at first I'm going to select the whole body using query selector. So I'm going to type document dot query selector. Query selector method. Then inside the round braces, I want to select the body. So inside the single quote, I'm going to type body, body. And then I want to run an event. So to run an event, we need to use add event listener method. So type dot add event listener. And inside the round braces, here I want to run mouse move event. So inside the single quote, I'm going to type mouse move. Then after comma, here I'm going to call a function, and our function name is eyeball. Eyeball. And semicolon to end is line. Now we need to create this eyeball function. But the question is, what I just basically do? Basically, here we set mouse move event in whole page. I want to say the body. It's mean whenever I move my cursor inside this body tag, it's going to return cursor exact location.
such as x-axis, y-axis, top position, right position, etc. And every time if we move the mouse inside the body tag, it's going to call this function, this eyeball function. And now we need to create the function. So here I'm going to declare the function name, function keyword, using function keyword, function, and our function name is eyeball. As you can see, it already suggests me because I call this function. So I will type eyeball function, and our function name is eyeball. This function going to handle the eye movement logic. Then inside the curly braces, I'm going to declare a variable where, and our variable name is I, E-Y-E. I equal to, here I'm going to type document dot query selector all. Then inside the round braces, inside the single quotes, I'm going to target this I, these two I's. So I'm going to type its class name. I'm going to target it using its class name. So I'm going to type dot EYE and semicolon to end this line. Basically, it's going to select those elements who have class I. And as you can see, we have total 2 div element with class I. This line basically select all elements with class I and return a node list like an array. And we store the array in I variable. And now we need to run a loop. We need to run a loop through each of the I element. So here I'm going to run for each loop. I dot for each. Then inside the round braces, again I'm going to call a function, and inside the round braces I'm going to pass I. Here we run a loop for each of the i's. Next, inside the curly braces, we need to calculate the center position of the I element in terms of x-axis and y-axis. X-axis stands for horizontal and y-axis stands for vertical coordinates on the screen. So here I'm going to declare a variable. First I'm going to declare let x. This is for x-axis value, x-axis position of I, equal to, here to type inside the round braces, I'm going to type I dot, and I'm going to use a method called getBoundingClientReact. So type getBoundingClientReact. Then I want to extract the left value dot left. With that I want to concatenate with, inside the round braces, I dot client width divided by slash I, and I want to divide it by 2. Now the question is, what that mean? Let me explain you what does that mean. What I basically do here. As I told you, here we are going to calculate the center position of I element. First we extract the x-axis. Here we declare a variable called x, and inside the round braces, at first here we extract I dot getBoundingClientReact dot left. Now the question is, what basically this method getBoundingClientReact do? It is give you the position and the size of the element related to the viewport. I want to say the browser window. It's return object like this: left 100, top position 200, width 50, height 50, etc. So here we extract the left edge of an I element, this edge, and then we concatenate with I dot client width divided by 2. Now what does that mean? I dot client width returns the inner width of the element. This method returns the inner width of this element. Suppose if the eye is 50 pixel wide, then it's going to return client width 50. And then I divide this 50 pixel width by 2. It's going to return 25. It means it's going to give you the horizontal center position. Half of eye width give you the horizontal center position of this eye, this point. And if we concatenate both the values, left edge and the half width, it's going to return the horizontal center of the eye, this line. At the same way, we need to extract the vertical center. So I duplicate this section. This time I'm going to change the variable name. I'm going to make it y. It is for y-axis, for vertical direction. And instead of using left value, I'm going to use top value, top. And now we have the top value and half of the width, and it's going to return the vertical center of the eye. And the main conclusion is x and the y together give you the client x and client y of the eye element. And these two coordinates are used to calculate the angle from the eye to the mouse. So we can rotate the eye in the correct direction. So now we have the center position of this eye. Next, we need to calculate. We need to calculate the angle between the mouse and the eye. For that, we need to use math method. So here I'm going to declare a variable let, and our variable name is radian because we are going to extract the radian value. Radian equal to, here I'm going to use a method called math dot, and I'm going to type ATAN2. Then inside the round braces, I'm going to type event dot page y position, event dot page y position minus y-axis, and comma. At the same way, we need to extract the x-axis, event dot page x minus x-axis. Now let me explain this line. What we basically do here. As I told you, this line calculate the angle between the center of the eye and the mouse pointer. Now the question is, what is math.atan2? It is an inbuilt JavaScript function. It's return the angle between the positive x-axis and the point, such as xy. And it return the angle in radian value. It's help to find the direction from one point to another, handling all coordinates correctly. In this case, we are finding the angle from the center of the eye to the mouse pointer. So this is our mouse pointer and this is the center of the eye. So we need to extract the angle, this angle. And here we did a silly mistake. First, we need to work on the x-axis value. Then we need to work on the y-axis value. Why? Here we need to pass these two parameters. Now, what's that mean? What is event.pagex minus x? It's mean how far the mouse is from the eye horizontally, at horizontal direction. And this one is represent how far the mouse is from the eye vertically. It's going to represent vertical direction. Basically, this one return delta x value and this one return delta y value. I know it sounds very technical, but this calculation gives us the result. And now the question is, why we calculate this? We use the angle to rotate the eye so it points toward the mouse cursor. And now we need to convert this radian value into degree value because in our style we need to apply degree value, not the radian. So here I'm going to declare another variable let, and our variable name is rot, R-O-T. Let rot means rotation. Inside the round braces, first I'm going to pass the radian. Radian multiply with, inside the round braces, 180 divided by math dot pi. Then I'm going to close the round braces, and here I'm going to type I want to multiply with minus 1. Then I'm going to close the round braces. Then outside the round braces I'm going to add plus, I'm going to concatenate with 270 and semicolon to end this line. This line convert the angle from radian to degree value. After that, it adjusts the rotation to make the eye point correctly at the mouse. Basically, here we use a formula. Degree equal to radians multiply with 180 by pi. So this is what we do here. After that, we multiply with -1. Multiply the angle by -1 to flip the direction. Here we flip the direction. This is needed because the screen coordinate system is flipped vertically compared to the standard mathematical coordinate spread. Without this, the eye could rotate in the wrong direction. And then we add 270. Add 270 degree to align the starting point of rotation with the top. Now the question is, why we use 270? Why we use this value? We can use anything, but why? Because in CSS, 0 degree is facing right, 90 degree is facing down, 180 degree is facing left, and 270 degree is facing up. It will ensure that the eye direction starts from the top and rotate correctly. So first we convert the radians in degree. Then we flip the direction using multiply with -1. Then we flip the direction for correct visual rotation. At last we align the rotation with the default facing up of the eye. I know it sounds very technical. Now we have the eye rotation value. If you want to print this value in your console, you can, but I'm not going to print it here. And next, I'm going to apply this rotation value to our eye element using style method. Let me show you how. So here I will type variable I dot style dot, and I want to apply transform property. Transform equal to, here I'm going to type inside the double quotes, I'm going to pass a string. So inside the double quotes, I'm going to type rotate. Rotate. Then inside the round braces, again I'm going to use double quotes, and inside the double quotes I'm going to type space concatenate with, here I'm going to pass degree value DEG and semicolon to end this line, and I'm going to save this file. Now after save this file, if I hover my cursor on this body section, now you can see it follow the cursor, the eyeballs follow the cursor pointer. So this is how we can achieve animated eyes follow mouse cursor effect, this animation. So I hope now it's clear for you. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for our next project.